film.
So that
that was exhausting.
And then Vanellope crosses the finish line.
Turns out she's a
princess,
constitute
something.
president.
Yes,
thing.
that's another big twist. The reason Candy wanted Vanellope out of the game so bad. She's actually a princess.
Well, she's
because
the
we
star.
can't have a Disney film without a princess.
Well, she just goes back to her regular clothes anyway, because she's a racer.
Yeah,
And she keeps her power.
And she's Sarah Silverman.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I saw that and I'm like, wow, really? I mean, that does provide a legitimate reason why you want her out of the game, but really?
And of course, Wreck-It Ralph has saved everybody. He's, a hero to everybody, but he's still the bad guy. Which this whole thing he's been arguing with. He doesn't want to be the bad guy. I don't want to be the bad guy. I don't want to be the bad guy. And then in the end, he's like, fine, I'm the bad guy, and I'll kill myself to do whatever. Blah.
It's not so much whether he wants, he just doesn't want to be the bad guy anymore. I think it's it's more down to appreciation, really.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Essentially, though, he realizes his lot in life. He decides to stick with it. But, of course, everybody now treats him like a hero, and they're really happy to have him.
Yeah, I thought it was a very satisfying ending.
Yeah,
me too.
I mean, I could see it coming, obviously, but, at least you're legitimately satisfied when it does happen. Even takes it a step further again by actually taking in Q*bert and all his buddies from the game who have nowhere to go and makes them
Bonus characters.
Yes, like part of the bonus level of the game that apparently didn't exist before. So now, when you get to the bonus stage, you have Felix and Q*bert fighting against Ralph and all those other weird creatures that you fight against in Q*bert. And it becomes like a retro sensation and the most played game in the arcade. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That is a.
And Felix Jr. and Fix-It Felix Jr. and Jane Lynch's character get married.
And he clearly doesn't die.
And the end. Everything just goes back. Oh, the out of order sign gets taken off.
Yep, both games get saved, and happy endings all around.
Yeah.
So,
I'm already thinking of a sequel already with this. But
it doesn't need it, but I don't know. It'd be nice.
I want a sequel to be where the arcade is not making as much money as it used to because the home console market is taking over. Because then the home consoles take over
and so they need to go out and stop the. I don't know.
Not stop the home consoles. Just like something about having those characters into the home console world thing. How that works out.
Disney ideas.
They're already buying Lucasfilm.
They're listening to everything.
Don't remind us. And don't remind me about that.
But yeah, overall, Wreck-It Ralph was awesome.
It was really enjoyable.
I consider this my #1 Disney film of the year. Put it past Avengers. Yes, I said it. This is better than Avengers, if only because of the originality and creativity that went into it.
Yes, and how they really had fun with it because they took all these little games like Tapper is the bar and they go to Pac-Man for like bad guy counseling. Also the fact that a lot of the video game characters that were in the game, like the ones that had speaking roles, like Sonic and Zangief and Bison, those are the actual voice actors that are doing it. Like Kyle Hebert is Ryu. Like at one point, it's like you see Ryu kids, like Ryu's like, hey, you want to go for a beer, kid? Yeah, okay, let's go.
Yeah, and I actually really like Wreck-It Ralph. I mean, he's a really complex character, especially for a Disney film. Like, you see that he wants to do good, but it's just in his nature to do stuff that's bad. And you see him fight against it, and that only makes it worse. And then when he actually embraces it, he actually does good. So, and of course, seeing him, actually making those really tough decisions, like not to put Penelope in the race, or, to actually sacrifice himself for the sake of everyone in the game.
You see it genuinely killing him to make these sacrifices.
Yeah. It's like, Like, I thought he was a wonderful character, and big props to John C. Reilly. Did awesome.
Yeah, I loved his
He
voice
also
acting.
did a lot of contribution to the story because they said like additional story by John C. Reilly was in there,
Yeah.
with like one or two
He
other
must
guys.
be awesome. He must be a real hardcore gamer.
I remember in an interview he said that they were asking him because he said he was a big gamer even back then. He always wanted when he was a kid. He said he wanted his parents to get him an Atari, and they misheard him for something else.
A guitar.
Yeah. I think that was it. But
Well, I gotta say, kudos to him for making this movie more awesome, because that's the thing I love about this. Like, they could go along the predictable route. They could make it a generic story, whatever. They always take it a step further, and it's just so awesome. It's so much more awesome for that. It's like,
it's being able to take a simple concept and just being able to play around with it. I mean, there are some. I want to go back to a little bit to another movie I saw earlier, Hotel Transylvania. It came out earlier this year. The concept was interesting. It had an interesting concept, but it felt like they didn't really want to play around with it as much. They were kind of playing it safe.
yeah.
And it was also disappointing because this is coming from Gennady Tartakovsky, the man who did Dexter's Lab and Samurai Jack and the Star Wars Clone Wars series. But then you have Wreck-It Ralph, which has another great concept. Video game characters. What do they do when the shops are closed? They have lives outside of just being their actual characters, and they take that and they just go with it. It's like, what if they did this? What if they game hop? What if what if there was a racing game? Like, wait, if this was a racing game, what would be in this? What would Hero's Duty be like? Like, what kind of stuff can we throw in? Let's throw in like every single video, shooter game from the last 10 years, that kind of thing.
I thought they did it wonderfully. I mean, there were times when there was like a lot of like characters packed into one spot, so you couldn't make out everyone. And of course, they only really do visit like 4 games at the most, 4 or 5 games at the most.
Yeah.
And it would have been cool to see them go through more, but I think what they had now is pretty good because they had to pack a lot of plot into this movie, so the worlds they had suited their needs. So I mean, it would have been cool to see them go into Street Fighter or into Rampage or into the old Mario game, but I thought they did really well with what they had and exceeded expectations. I gotta say though, there is one plot hole that I noticed that probably could have ended the whole thing sooner. They established that Fix-It Felix can, he can fix anything just by tapping his hammer. He can do this in and out of games. So here's a question: why didn't he use his hammer on Vanellope to fix her glitch that would have allowed her to escape with them?
Well, did he find? When
That
did he
doesn't work
find
that
out
way.
though?
Well, why not? I mean, he gets damaged and he's able to restore himself just by whacking himself with his hammer.
Yeah.
So,
But it's-
wouldn't that apply to other characters?
The thing is, does he know? When did he find out? I don't think they ever made it clear if he ever found out that she was indeed a glitch or not.
True, but you think that Ralph would, tell him to do it? Like, tell him, like, hey, let's test this out. Like, you can fix things with your hammer. Why don't you test it out on Vanellope? Maybe you could fix her glitch or something.
I think with a glitch it's a little different because it does.
I think for him to fix.
Because
To
glitches
fix Vanellope, he would have had to go straight to the source and
glitches are
break
not
through the
glitches are
Konami
not
code.
natural. The hammer only works if it's something that happens that's naturally within the right coding of the game. And
But
with
she is within the natural coding of the game.
But
right?
that's
Yes,
not
but it's been distorted.
That's not how the game
Yeah.
reads it.
It's been distorted, and it's been distorted outside, like the core of the game. So it's more internal than it is external.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought like it would have helped if they had like one scene where he where they say that she can't escape, she's a glitch, and Felix is like, I could fix her. Thunk, 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 thunk. I got nothing.
That's Wreck-It Ralph how it should have ended.
I mean, it's just like a 2-second scene. I'm just saying, because that's a pretty big plot hole. I mean, you don't know for sure if it wouldn't have worked, but I'm sure they could have worked around it. But that's the only plot hole I noticed with that. Like, other than that, though, everything was flawless and everything tied in really well together.
Also, we saw this movie in 3D, and it works in 3D.
Yes.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Like, even in the very first minute of the movie, like when you're panning into the game itself, you just see you feel like you're looking at an actual console or
Like
an actual arcade console.
machine.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, personally, I don't like 3D just because my eyes are kind of bad, and I'm kind of farsighted too. So usually that tends to distort my visual, especially with those jump visuals, where they add in something just jumping at you for the sake of the 3D. But this didn't really have any of that.
No.
And
With the occasional obvious thing like the taffy, that was like you figured that's for the 3D, and it didn't look right in 3D. But otherwise, everything else.
Yeah,
everything else.
if anything, it helped to enhance the atmosphere. I mean, you'd expect a game like that to be sort of confined into the dimensions of the arcade machine, but no, it's actually its own branched out world that probably could go on endlessly for all we know. And it did a really good job. I mean, there were a few times, particularly with the close-up scenes where they pan from character to character, where it did get kind of blurry and hard to see. But for the most part, the 3D did wonders for the atmosphere. So yeah, if you get the opportunity to see it in 3D,
it's
take
worth
it.
the extra coin.
Yeah. Yes.